So, it is book launch day. I'm just getting ready. Got all my camera equipment, my gear, a whole stack of books. Got one here too. It's my little corner of achievements. So it's the one there if it's not too bright. So we'll be meeting Sharif there. See how it goes.
Can't use the top room, but downstairs is set up for children's activity anyway.
That will outlast the time span of the town do. Ajaz is of course a really crucial part of the local arts ecology, as a poet who's been living and working here for a long time, and of course as part of this programme we had to commission his work. So I'm going to pass over to Ajaz, but before that the Mayor is going to say a quick word.
Good morning everybody. I'd just like to welcome everyone to Pendle and to the seat of knowledge that we have here and all the people that work here. I hope we have a pleasant morning. Anybody who has any questions, don't forget, I'll be here, you can come and ask. Let's carry on and do what we have.
So, I'll talk about the inception of the poem. Callum came to me and asked me for this World Poetry Day. Sorry. So I should talk a little bit about where the idea for this poem came and how the inception came from. So Callum approached me and asked me to respond to the local area in similar ways as I've done before, and think about the idea of how I love thee. And that is the theme of National Poetry, World Poetry Day 2024. And I really looked at this idea and I asked my family, and I'm not sure if my mum remembers here, this is my mother, but while I was thinking about this poem, I asked my mum, I said, Mum, what was this town like? And my mum said, it was a really tight-knit community. And I just stuck to that idea and I took it and I was like, I can make something out of this. So what I wanted to do is write a poem that really represented the complex history of industry that Lancashire has, and also talk about the voice that it still has. And so I wrote this poem here. It's called This Town is an Old Hand-Me-Down Sweater. And so this fleece was hand-shorn by a sheep herder's hands, whose flock roamed these dreamy Lancashire lands. At Lomisher Mill the process began, rolled into rovings, combed, carded and dyed, then spun into wool, the fibres crossed lengthwise. It was sold at Nelson Market, £1 a ball or a penny a yard, with a deep regard grandma knitted ours from a single yarn. We all wore it and accepted it as ours, a hand-me-down sweater we each made our own, insulating and warm, as snug as a home, as big as a town, a garment we could all grow around. We took it to every street and to the playground. It grew as we grew, like a boundary. We tested limits, pulled threads out to the foundry. My father wore it to the sheet metal factory. My brother wore it to nights to Equinox, wild and free. My mother tore it to rags whilst cleaning the singer, and my sister danced and mimed to Spice Girls in front of the mirror. I wore it too, its sleeves around my waist like an embrace, or draped on my back, both arms over my shoulders like a cape, or scrunched on the ground, a goalpost at play, or a blanket on a warm summer's day. It was passed to neighbours and friends and neighbours too, who wore it through winters and made it through. Yes, it was made to endure, layered with care and love, shared around this town like a little song, a harmony where every voice belonged. This is our sweater, frayed and bored with holes, elbows patched from scrapes and stitched at the seams, a tea-stained front mixed with whiskey and cream, but still but we've worn it well. To tatters and tears, to tallies and tales, we've got stories to tell. Still, we keep the threads as they unravel and restitch them new. A patchwork blanket of everyone we knew. For those who stay and for those who travel, here's an old hand-me-down in the shades of Nelson Town. Thank you. Homer, who babysat me every Saturday, or Hassan and Ruby, who kissed on the settee when they thought I wasn't looking, or the Red Ranger, who I saw on TV and dreamt of being, or the streets of Wolverden I had mapped in my mind like a little cartographer, a map in my mind of pine, of fir, larch and holly, over to Southfield, where I made my den with NASA, and climbed apple trees for sour apples, and further to Netherfield, where my unsuspecting little brother escaped on a tricycle, only to be brought home by a stranger who accepted nothing but small town thanks, but left with a heart full of food and a plate full of love. I had known it as home, everything I held dear in a place I held dear. Number 72. With a frog green kitchen, red patterned carpets and suede walls in the front room for visitors who never seemed to go. A place I could grow, a TARDIS, small on the outside, as big as the heart on the inside, with an old stone fireplace emitting a warm glow. I had my very own attics with a Velux window, a view of Pendle Hill, and a daydream of a weekend drive along Leeds Road to see my grandma. Thank you. The entrance marked my first real memory. Some colours before that, maybe the reds and blacks of my mother, her scent, the taste of her milk, maybe the chewed chicken that my uncle fed me, the sour chicken and lemon that my brother gave me, or maybe a word. My auntie teaching me to say the S's of biscuits and snakes, though perhaps that was later. But those tadpoles in the world of that tank, though I didn't know what they were, I knew that they were young, and I, akin to them, would one day be something new. I was fed marshmallows, taught how to row my boat gently downstream and ride the tricycles in the playground before I was caught scheming with Atik behind a bookcase. Thank you. Atik consists of 5 lines, and it's built from 5. The first line is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, 7, 7. And it's a very measured poem, and it's built out of images. And one of the things while I was with the Scribendi, I did the helmsperson training, which was to go through the canal on a boat while learning how to drive and moor the boat. And so through this little journey that I had with Roy, the person who taught me how to drive the boat, I wrote this sequence of poems that goes through the bridges. So each one is a tanker, and there are 21 of them in total. And I think they build a nice little story of what it is like to travel on the canals. Yeah? So it's called Bridges. Morning, springing from moorings, the Furor Scribendi heaving against wind, tiller toiling to steady the weight, steadying ourselves. We glance starboard to port. We take a seat at the stern, firm guide to bow, hatch below, bright glow, lights blink, stern churns, motors roar, breath of life with a wide berth. The north wind blows cold, the water shimmers like a dress. We ripple along the Ribble Valley, the sun millimeters above heads. 3 miles per hour. We move slow through town, straggling, books in tow, traveling, slow enough to watch the world go by, slow enough to watch the world grow. Cross the Brun River at the Calder confluence, eddying, touching, merging, splitting and splitting again. That's new life, new water. Burnley takes its name from here, and its first waters too. A confluence. They drank, laughed tall laughs, and built this town, hands tough as steel sheets. We steer a boat along banks, wave to strangers on towpath. Filled, books we bring, letting our small bells ring, a chorus before a bridge. We tunnel through bridges no men can pass but boats can. We wade in neutral, legging with the boating pole, the foam breaking against the boat, into the lay-by for horses where wildfires grow. Bees thrive in hives, in nearby trees owls sleep until night rises like tide. The fisherman's rope, coiled, ready to be made into a bowline, is thrown into this old cotton town, a line into history. The A's are afterthoughts, additions, alterations, new architecture for new generations to improve their conditions. Atop Barrowford locks, we have water chambers, boxes of mud and wood filled to their sill, the water so still, kept by floodgates, taking the weight. From boat to bollard to cleat to hand, thrown to land, the line pulling weight, straight against the close-foot grate. We are treading water, biding time. A tenacious root uprooting a red-bricked wall, two barks growing out like two arms of nature, proud hands out to water, a thick white maple tree with 5-point leaves, drooping like lobes. Ivy grows green on a trunk, it binds vines like love, smothering the tree like death. The top gate balance beam, lock ladder to tow path, the windlass spindle turns like a mill, click, clack, click, clack, slowly it fills. We open the floodgates, 500,000 litres spill downhill, cascade into the canal lock. The boat is plunged backwards like a hummingbird. When they found you, boy, you were just a boy afloat, sank like a fat tank only a day before, camouflage under the green. There's a motorway over the waterway, lorries below, running little mice, overwhelming, overflowing, overcoming the world. The sun is a halo, the water light enough to see the movement of motes, of dragonflies, bumblebees, birds, and row after row of boats. Evening, just mooring the Furor Scribendi. At last, the sun on our backs, the boats part and let us pass, our fenders bump, soft as dampers. Thank you.
I wanted to write something for the town, nicely representative of it. Where are you from? Whereabouts in Scotland? I know Dundee.
Well, I'll tell you, I've seen the new